Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I am your host this afternoon, Ed Montana. Alongside me today, my best friend, my brother from the same mother, Alex. How are you today?
Pretty darn good. What is up, everyone? Like my brother said, I am your co-host, the Sandwich Eating Gym Rat. So, check this out. I am no doctor, okay?
That's for damn sure.
Yes. If you need help, setting up a warehouse and shipping boxes, call me. I'm no doctor, right? So I have actually diagnosed myself with the bird flu. Now, it's not that type of bird flu, okay? It's not deadly or nothing like that, okay? But all week, I have been bombarded with texts and memes and videos and pictures.
Yes.
And I have what I like to call the Philadelphia Eagles bird flu.
I think I have the same bird flu, and I think I caught it from the same place you did.
You probably did. It would not surprise me. So you're probably guessing who gave us the bird flu. It's our cousin Jay. He's having fun with us right now. As you know, he is a big-time Philadelphia Eagles fan, and we've been hearing it since last Sunday, nonstop.
Nonstop is putting it mildly. The city of Philadelphia, man, they had a fantastic week. We're a week out now from the Super Bowl. They had a good time. They had an unbelievable parade. One of the best I've ever seen. I mean, it was, 5 miles long, and it seemed like an all-day event. He sent pictures and videos and stuff, and it looked like they were all having a lot of fun. That day, they were the city of brotherly love because It seemed like everyone got along with everyone. They all had a good time. There were people giving away free beer, and it was fun. It looked like fun. I don't know. I wasn't there, but
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little jealous. It did look like a lot of fun. Again, congratulations to you. I know, Jay, you had a good time. You deserve this one. And I know the Super Bowl just ended.
Right.
And that marks kind of like the end of the football season. But the football season really never ends. There's always something to talk about.
That's right.
So I kind of want to talk a little football still.
Okay, well, I don't see why not. Go ahead.
So I was thinking, there's a ton of teams in the NFL.
Well, there's only 32.
There's only 32, but that's a ton.
In weight, it is. That's a good point. Go ahead.
There's 32 NFL teams. And, when you look around the league, a bunch of teams still need quarterbacks, right? You got the Bills, you got the Cardinals, you got the Vikings, who kind of have 3, but don't
Not
really.
Yeah.
You have, you have the Browns, of course. Every year they need a quarterback.
They're not going to get one. They refuse to get a quarterback, so we don't have to worry about them.
Hey.
They do not need a quarterback.
Cleveland Browns, you got 12 picks. You draft 12 quarterbacks, damn it.
And they'll still end up with none.
And, on the flip side of the coin, you have the Eagles. Check this out. They have 2 quarterbacks.
Not only do they have 2 quarterbacks, they've got 2 MVP quarterbacks, right? Because you have Nick Foles, who was your Super Bowl MVP, and they have Carson Wentz, who, if he didn't get hurt, probably would have been the season MVP.
Yeah.
2 quarterbacks, that's a good problem to have.
Or is it? I mean, what do you... Okay, so Carson Wentz is hurt, right? Torn MCL, ACL. He's going to be out for a while, so... obviously they turn to Nick Foles. What do you do if you're the Eagles? He's on the hook for $7 million next year, right?
Which isn't a big number.
It's not.
For a quarterback, that's not a big number.
So I impose this question. What do you do if you're the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, I think this is actually an easy one. Here's your answer in 2 words. Joe Flacco.
Wow.
You move on from Nick Foles. I understand he just did a magnificent job for you, won you the Super Bowl, or obviously was an integral part of winning the Super Bowl against the Patriots. But I don't think he's an elite quarterback. He hasn't been an elite quarterback. He caught lightning in a bottle. He was. I don't want to take anything away from what he's done. He will probably be serviceable for another team, but I don't think he's ever going to be an elite quarterback. Whereas Carson Wentz, certainly if the prognosis of his knee recovery is a good one, I think Carson Wentz has the potential to be that elite top 5. We mentioned him with Rodgers, Brady, and Breeze. I think he can be that kind of quarterback. He was already starting to be the face of your franchise, does a lot of great work in the community in Philadelphia. He's, by all accounts, a good dude. If you don't have a lingering knee issue with him, which, they can figure that stuff out these days, I think you stick with him and do not throw the money at Nick Foles. And look, someone's going to give you a king's ransom for that guy. Quite frankly, if I'm the Eagles, I shop both of them with the intention of keeping Wentz. But I shop both of them to let people know I have no allegiance. You make me your best offer because I can go either way. I'm okay with either one of them. I've got a Super Bowl MVP. I've got a season MVP. You tell me what you're willing to give me for one of those guys, and I'll take the best offer in the end, knowing that I would stay with Carson Wentz. Right. That's one man's opinion. You?
Honestly, I would have to disagree, and I'd say I keep Nick Foles. You took us to the damn Super Bowl. We rode you. It's a team game. It was a team win. But, the quarterback played, he played great, okay? And he's done this before with Philly, right? He went on a run under Chip Kelly, I think. He had 20-something touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So, no, you keep him because you don't know how the recovery of Carson Wentz is going to go.
Yeah, but I think by this point, certainly by the time you get to the draft, right? The draft is in late April. By the time you get to the draft, you have a pretty good indication of how Carson Wentz is progressing. And nowadays, look, these knee injuries are terrible, but a lot of guys come back, especially in the NFL.
Yeah.
And he wasn't Randall Cunningham before he got injured. He wasn't that kind of quarterback. His mobility was not an integral part to his success. What was making him successful was he was very accurate with the football. He was making good reads. He had a running game, which that also helps. And he had a decent offensive line. If you put those things around him again, then there's no reason to think he's not going to be a 65 to 66, 67% completion rate, completion percentage quarterback who makes good reads and doesn't turn the ball over. To me, we've seen what happens when a quarterback catches lightning in a bottle and makes it to the Super Bowl. Ooh, it's not pretty after that. Ask the Ravens. Ask the Ravens what they would do.
Wouldn't this be something? Okay, so I mentioned the Browns earlier, right? And you mentioned shop them both. Shop Carson Wentz and Nick Foles. What would it be? Imagine the Browns
are
trade for Carson Wentz after trading that pick 2 years ago to the Eagles, who drafted Carson Wentz.
Well, if I'm the Browns, I offer them whatever they want for both of them, because you can't have too many quarterbacks when you're a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah,
that's just one man's opinion again.
That's I guess we'll find out what happens with that situation.
It's a mess. I feel bad for Cleveland fans because it's just year after year after year, and it just doesn't. It just goes to show how important an organization is, just how they're structured and how they do things. There are organizations that just don't get it over and over again. The Cardinals are one of them. They had that one flash where they made it to the Super Bowl. Other than that, mediocrity or less. You've got the Browns that are that way. In the last 10 years, the Dolphins are that way.
Oh, man.
Where they just... you just got to wonder what's going on. What? We've got all these different blueprints of consistently high-performing organizations like the Steelers and the Patriots, the Packers, and then you've got the other ones that just can't ever seem to get it right. I don't understand how that happens, but
I don't either. It's It's insanity. I mean, I guess whatever they're doing, they keep doing, and they just don't figure it out.
No,
you know,
no, they don't seem to. They don't seem to. What other topics are there in the NFL? Really, not much. I mean, that's going to dominate the headlines leading up to the draft. Well, and I guess the other thing now is, what happens with Kirk Cousins. The Redskins went and traded for Alex Smith, but they still have Kirk Cousins, which I don't understand that. Get rid of that guy first, or do the trade simultaneously with a release of that guy. But what are they doing? Because now they're not going to get anything back for Kirk Cousins, because everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, sure, you want to tag him? You pay him $12 million or whatever that tag number is, and move on down the line. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I don't understand what they're doing either. I personally don't feel that Alex Smith is an upgrade over Kirk Cousins.
Minimal upgrade. I mean, I think he's a good game manager, but I think,
you don't need a game manager.
I think Kirk Cousins is more dynamic and can probably give you more in the long run. So it's, pick what you want, but I don't see it.
Yeah, and I don't trust their coach Jay Gruden. He's not a good play caller, and keep in mind, Alex Smith had some great options to throw to in Kansas City, which he does not have in Washington.
And he had a running game. As well. That's right. That rookie that they had,
Kareem Hunt.
I mean, it was just he was doing his thing, and now he's going to Washington. He doesn't have anything. It's not going to be pretty in the nation's capital this year, and in a division where Philadelphia and Dallas very clearly head and shoulders above the rest. It's going to be hard to crack into those top two spots to get to get to the playoffs. I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
we shall see.
Moving on, the big topic of the week in the NBA was the trade deadline, in which the Cleveland Cavaliers traded everyone except LeBron James and got back no one. So they're probably going to forfeit the rest of the season. No, I don't know. Look, again, what are these people doing? They traded away Isaiah Thomas, who was the only other decent player they had on the team. And remember, they traded him for Kyrie. They got Isaiah Thomas for Kyrie Irving. So now they traded Isaiah Thomas away for George Hill, Larry Nance Jr., the concession guy in Section 13. I mean, what are they doing? Think back to before the season started. If you'd have said, hey, I got a deal for you guys. If the Lakers and the Kings, however they structured this deal for Isaiah Thomas, if they'd have walked up to the Cavs and said, hey, we have a deal for you. You give us Kyrie Irving. We'll give you these two guys and the beer guy from Section 206. What do you say? I mean, it's... I don't understand. What are they doing?
The Lakers forgot to add a piece in that trade. They should have traded LeVar Ball. Trade that guy away. But no.
He's on the roster, isn't he?
Might as well be.
Jeez.
No, yeah, but I get what you're saying. But to the Cavs' defense, I think they got younger, which is what LeBron needed. He didn't need Dwayne Wade. He didn't need Richard Jefferson. Those guys are well over 30. He needs young players around him.
Hey, man, what's wrong with being well over 30?
Nothing, man. Look at me. I look great.
You're not well over 30. I'm well over 30.
You're right. You are. Yeah, I can tell.
Damn near 50. Yikes.
Yikes.
Yeah, look, getting younger is great, but LeBron's not getting younger. So, look.
That's why he needs younger pieces around him.
The Big Three formula works. We see it work over and over and over again. The one and romper room gang does not. And LeBron's not getting any younger. What do they expect him to do? And here's the other thing. Isaiah Thomas wasn't your problem. Your problem was Kevin Love, and they couldn't get rid of him. And they got rid of his buddy Dwayne Wade, so he's probably sore about that. It just seems like a complete mess to me. I get the argument that they got younger and all that. That's great. But at the end of the day, you're basically asking LeBron James to win your championship. How did that go back in the day when he played against the Spurs in the finals?
Yeah.
Not good, right?
And here's the thing, too. This is an overhaul. This is a complete overhaul in the middle of the season. And this is not Phil Jackson. This is not Pat Riley coaching. This is Tyronn Lue. So let's see how he gets this team prepared. And let's see how good of a coach he is now.
Yeah, that's it. And look, in all fairness, he doesn't have the experience of those other gentlemen that you mentioned. It's kind of unfair to ask him to do this on the fly.
No.
It's, and hey, by the way, Cleveland, you lost LeBron the first time. Why? Because he didn't have stars to play with, which is why he took his ball and went and played in Miami. He's coming up on free agency. Yep. You're basically asking him to leave, which, by the way, I think they want him to leave. I think they've had it with the LeBron James thing. He brought him a title. He's brought him to the finals. He's done everything he can do for his hometown. I think Gilbert and the rest of the cronies in Cleveland are like, good riddance. I've had enough with this kissing the king's ring. And I can't say that I blame him, but it does smell terrible right now in Cleveland.
You know, the one guy I feel bad for out of all this is Isaiah Thomas. This guy got drafted by the Kings. 2 years later, he was traded to the Suns. A year or two later, traded to the Boston Celtics. Then a year after, 2 years after, traded to the Cavs. And now he got traded again to the Lakers. He was the last pick in the 2011 draft. Okay? He had an awesome year last year. His sister passes away in the middle of the playoffs. I mean, I wish that guy the best because he has gone through it all. I mean, to have to pack your bags every season to go to a different state, a different team to play for, adjust on the fly, everything you've been through.
And he's handled it like a champ.
He has.
I mean, you hear all of his comments about being with the Lakers and stuff. He's handling it like a champ. And the only good thing that happened with this trade, the only positive I see, no controversy today about having to share the Boston stage with Paul Pierce and his retirement ceremony, which I thought it was garbage that the Celtics wanted to do a dual thing. Anyway, no controversy today.
Agreed.
Paul Pierce, the truth, got his number lifted up to the rafters. I loved watching Paul Pierce play back in the day, and one of the truly clutch players. Loved watching the ceremony today and seeing him get his due from the fans in Boston. So hats off to him. Congratulations on a job well done in his career. And now as an analyst, he's killing it.
Yeah,
he's killing it. He has taken that truth thing to the analyst booth. I love it. He tells the truth.
That's it.
I love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Moving on down the line, we like to do a segment every week we call Positive Running. That's where myself, Ed Montana, likes to talk about running because that's what I do. And I talk about it from a positive angle. So I don't know if I mentioned this on our last episode, but I am currently in training to run the Boston Marathon on April 16th. For those of you that are runners or understand a little bit about running, you know that when it comes to distance running in this country, the Boston Marathon really is the crown jewel of running. You have to qualify to get there. It's run on Patriots Day, which is a holiday, a Monday in Boston, Massachusetts. Actually, it starts outside of Boston, about 24 miles away, and you run all the way into Boston through some historic towns like Newton and whatnot. And so it's very exciting. It is a humongous event. And so today I want to talk a little bit about, last week I talked about, what do you have to do to get going to train for a 5K, a 10K, whatever it is, right, a marathon. And I said, you just got to get out there and do it. Well, that's great and all, but at some point, especially in a longer training process like a marathon where you train for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, there are going to be moments where you lose motivation. And so, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with it when you just don't feel like it? How do you deal with it when your body's aching and you don't feel like going for a run? You don't feel like sticking to your training schedule?
You eat a sandwich.
That's not a bad way to go. You eat a sandwich. I don't know about you, but I can't run a whole lot when I eat a big sandwich. Yeah. But it makes me feel better, right? So, it's kind of like the same as getting started. You just have to push through, right? Now that sounds pretty simple, and I myself will be training here over the next 9 weeks. Now, mind you, I run and train just about all year round. I have my peaks and valleys, but over the next 9 weeks, I will really push my body to a different place. I'll train sometimes twice a day, where I'll get on a stationary bike to burn some calories and do some leg work, as well as run in the afternoon, or run and then maybe do some core work. So I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to push my body to a place it doesn't naturally want to go sometimes. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to get achy. I'm going to get frustrated with the fact that, man, I still got a ways to go, and I still got to keep doing this, and I still got to keep training. I have goals and stuff. There's different ways to keep yourself motivated. A lot of times I think it's good to hook up with other people who are on the same endeavor. So if you're training for your first half marathon, let's say, and it's a 3-month training process, do it with other people. I spoke about this last week a little bit. It's good to have training partners. It's good to be part of groups. USA Fit has groups all around the country that you could hook up with. I happen to be a part of Katie Fit, which is a subset of USA Fit, and I've got all of my friends through that network that I run with. So finding people to run with is a great way to keep your motivation going. The other thing that seems to work is, keep your eyes on the prize. It's not easy, but you wouldn't have stepped out to do this endeavor if it was easy, right? That's not the point. It's supposed to be difficult. So stick to it. The phrase that I like to use all the time is the juice is worth the squeeze. So when you're putting in all that training, there's a lot of squeeze, but the juice at the end is worth it. The thrill of accomplishing something that you set out to do 9 weeks ago, or 3 months ago, or 6 months ago, or sometimes a year ago, it's worth it. It will be worth it to you. The sense of pride and accomplishment that you get after putting a goal out there and completing it and achieving that goal is special. And it's really one of those things that it's an irreplaceable feeling. It's hard to explain to other people, but at the end of the day, it's something that feels really good, and it's worth it. Trust me. Stick to it. The juice is worth the squeeze.
How do you stay motivated during, like the holidays? Like when we have a get together, when our family gets together, it's full blown barbecue, steak. I mean, it's some good stuff. So how do you find that motivation to, like, the next day, say, man, I got to get up and run. I got to, during the holidays, right? It's Thanksgiving, 3, 4, 5 days straight of nonstop eating. What do you do, or how do you psych yourself out, or what?
I think the important thing there is to schedule your workouts. Okay. So, like, for example, my family, we usually end up going out of town for Thanksgiving to visit other family. And I just make it a point, it's real relaxed where we're at. It's, there's no schedule, but obviously, Thanksgiving Day, we have a big feast at 2 or 3 in the afternoon. I'll make sure I get my run in the morning. So I mentally schedule it, and I say, okay, I'm going to get up at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have my cup of coffee, have something light to eat. I'm going to go out and I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to go run, find different places to train and work out. It's probably the same thing for those that like to work at the gym, work out at the gym like you do. You have to schedule it, especially during the holidays, because you've got all these demands on your time. You got family pulling you one way. You got to do shopping. You got to do this. You got to help out around the house. If you're not doing the shopping, you still got to help, right? They don't let me cook around here, so I got to help with other stuff.
Thank God.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. So you just got to schedule it. You just got to say, Thanksgiving break is a perfect example where you've got typically you're off Wednesday through Sunday. You say, hey man, I'm going out for a run every day at 9 o'clock, or I'm going to run Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday at 9 o'clock, and I'm going to get my workouts in. And you just got to schedule it, make it a priority, and make it a part of your day. That way, it's going to happen. And certainly if you're going to eat a lot like we do, do it early.
That's
because it is tough to get motivated after you put down turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and cranberries.
And another thing is, I think that if you don't have an excuse not to go work out, if you don't have an excuse to not go for a run, even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 1 mile, 2 miles, if you do not have an excuse, then go do it. There's no reason. If you don't have a good enough reason, watching TV, whatever your vice is, if it's not a good enough reason, then go do it. If you set a goal out for yourself, go accomplish it. Go do it.
I agree with that completely. It's probably the same thing with working out. I have never, ever regretted going out the door for a run. Never. Now, I have regretted sitting at home, watch TV, and have a beer and skip my run. I've regretted that, right? I've sat there and gone, I don't feel like running today. I'm just going to watch TV. Screw it. I've regretted that. I have never gone, I don't feel like running. I'm going to go put my shoes on anyway. All right, I'll open the door, take one step out the door. I'll start my watch, but I don't want to do this. Never have I come back 10 minutes later or an hour later and said, damn, I wish I didn't do that.
Right.
That never happens. So get yourself out the door. Go accomplish your goals. The juice is worth the squeeze.
Absolutely.
Moving on to other topics. The Olympics. The Olympics started... Well, the opening ceremony was Friday, but they started on like Wednesday.
Listen, I was the TV guide on the TV said opening ceremony. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. I didn't know where the heck the Olympics are. I don't even know. All I know is that they're 15 hours ahead. I don't know what's going on.
By the way, it's the Winter Olympics, right?
It's the Winter Olympics.
Just to be clear, it's the Winter Olympics,
which is my favorite, by the way.
You like it more than the Summer Olympics?
I love it.
What's your favorite sport?
Oh man.
All right, tell me why you like the Winter Olympics more than the
He should know what my favorite sport is.
We've already established I'm not that good of a brother.
Oh man, you got a horrible memory.
I'm damn near 50.
Okay,
man.
So look, every now and then, okay, my brother and I, we get together, we sneak out the house, okay, we go to the bar, have a couple drinks, all right, and they got this one game in there, okay, called shuffleboard, okay, and curling reminds me of shuffleboard.
It's shuffleboard on ice.
That's it. Yes, so it's definitely curling. I love it.
I love
big stones.
Big stones. That's what they play with. Big stones.
Big stones.
Folks, there's no hidden meaning there. Here's my question about curling. Right? When I was a kid in New York, and you got 6, 8, 10 guys at a basketball court, you chose up sides, right?
Right.
When you chose up sides, after you got done choosing up sides, you said, okay, you're taller than everybody else. You play center. Oh, you're smaller than everybody else. Therefore, you must be able to dribble really good. You're the point guard. Those kids up in Canada and Norway and all these cold places where they play curling, when they choose up sides, how do they determine who sweeps? Because that job sucks. Hey, your arms look pretty buff. How about you sweep?
Man, you better not have noodle arms because you are not getting that job.
I think I would obviously not be the sweeper with these little arms. You might be in trouble, brother.
Yeah. I might be stuck sweeping, but
it sucks too because they don't just have to sweep. They're getting yelled at the whole time. Hard.
But it's pretty. Yeah, but you know what? It's pretty cool because they get a running start and they just slide the whole way and they're just sweeping while they're sliding, bro.
It just looks too difficult. For me, it looks too difficult. But I love the curling stuff.
Oh man, I love it. My favorite by far.
What else do I like in the Olympics? I'm not a big fan of the figure skating. Any sport where there's like a judge, to me, it's like it's not a sport, right? To me, if you don't directly affect the actions and reactions of your opponent, and there's a judge determining who's better, right? Because
Yeah.
if I say judges equal no sport, then all the boxing fans are gonna go, oh yeah, well what about boxing? But in boxing, I can knock someone out.
That's right.
I can directly affect the other person. But in this figure, plus I see this triple axel and double lutz and stuff. Unless someone's rear end ends up on the ice, I don't know if it was good or not.
Yeah, that's why you watch the Olympic Follies or something and hope you catch someone falling on their behind. But besides curling, I can't even think of another sport. Skiing is pretty cool. That's got to be a terrible for your knees, though. I mean, geez, they look like springboards.
I mean, it's terrible for your entire body when you miss a turn. Hey, have you seen the speed skating? Those guys are running. They have machetes on the bottom of their shoes. I mean, they're like this freaking long. They're like 2 feet long. I'm like, damn, you could kill somebody with those things. It is brutal. And they're going like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Talk about amazing athletes, man. I've got some strong legs. I bet you I could make 15 miles an hour on freaking kitchen knives.
Well, you being a runner, you probably want to start running in the middle of the
clack, 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 clack.
Yeah.
It would sound terrible. Terrible. What other cool Olympic sports are there? The snowboarding is cool. Those guys, those jumps. Now, they've got judges too, so it's kind of not a sport to me, but those flips, man, are just crazy.
Major hang time. We just saw one a little while ago. I mean, the poor was it the men's or the women's? I don't even know. Well, the poor person, I mean, just fell. I mean, tumbling, rumbling, stumbling, but he or she was like way up in the air.
What I do look forward to with the snowboarding and stuff is the scorpion, right? When they do the face plant, the board comes up on this. Oh, that looks like it hurts.
Ouch.
That looks like an episode of Ridiculousness on MTV. Let's see, what other sport? And you've got hockey, which, I'm an NHL fan, so I like the hockey. The women's hockey is really good. What other sports?
So with the hockey, are they, they're taking their 1 week, 2 week break of the NHL?
No, the NHL's not letting them go this time.
Oh.
So it's, I don't know, guys from other leagues. I think the U.S. is sending a bunch of minor leagues.
Gotcha.
Which, whatever. I don't care. Hockey's one of those sports where it doesn't matter if it's, well, it matters, but it's not. The drop off in quality doesn't make it any less entertaining. There's something about hockey that it's entertaining even when the quality is down a little bit.
Well, I think the pace of the game is just nonstop, and you got the fights every now and then, and
well, they don't fight in the Olympics and college and stuff.
Well, I'm definitely not watching.
Well, it's got to be like a dual sport.
Yeah, it's got to. Come on, you think hockey?
The best of both worlds, right? Fighting and
yes, a little bit of MMA or and hockey. I mean, can't go wrong with that.
Speaking of hockey. Congratulations to Sidney Crosby. Scored his 400th goal. Hats off to that guy. He's been doing his thing for a long time. Yeah. He's an exceptional athlete. He has been really at the top of the game for a long time. And here's the thing about Sidney Crosby that impresses me. He came into the NHL kind of like LeBron did, right? He was the second coming of Wayne Gretzky. He's dealt with the pressure. He's won Stanley Cups. He's led his team. He's a good guy. He's overcome serious concussion issues a few years ago. And now he's made it to 400 goals, which that's a lot. In a sport where if you score 50 in a season, that's a ton. To have hit the 400 mark is really commendable. Hats off to him. I love watching the guy. I'm not a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, right? But if I flip through channels and I see the Penguins on, I do stop to watch, and I stop strictly for Sidney Crosby. He is pretty much the face of the NHL in this country, and he's just a fantastic athlete, fantastic hockey player. Congratulations to him, 400 goals, man. My hat's off to you. I couldn't score. I couldn't skate from one end to the other. I still don't know how to stop. Thank God they have the boards, right? I would have never made it playing hockey on a lake because I'd have taken off one way and I wouldn't have stopped until they had a snowbank.
something.
Yeah. The only way I can stop now is because they got walls around there.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, like outdoor hockey with no walls, couldn't do it. Could not do it.
I don't even bother putting on skates, roller skates, rollerblades, anything with wheels under my feet. Ain't happening.
Yeah, these aren't wheels. These are blades.
Blades of steel.
Dude, I want to try one of those speed skate things. Those things are ridiculous.
That looks like fun, but man, oh man, I think stopping would be the.
You know what I noticed on the speed skate? When it's over, they skate around like 3 more times. I don't think the thing's got brakes. I'm serious. No brakes, man.
That's scary.
Yeah, it is. It is. Good stuff, though. It is really good. I enjoy the Olympics. It's like being at a buffet, man. It's just, I love it. Absolutely love it.
What else do we have?
I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
The Mets signed someone this week.
Todd Frazier. What do you think about that? You're a Mets fan. What do you think about that?
No, why would you say that?
I don't know. Just
okay.
The fans probably can figure it out, but I have no idea.
I think it's a good trade. I mean, no, not
signing.
a trade. We didn't trade. We traded him.
him.
I think it's a good signing. He's a New Yorker. Well, born in Jersey, but I mean, he played last season in New York. I think he
can handle that media.
I think Todd Frazier will help keep the clubhouse together. Keep the guys motivated. Keep the guys mentally in game. And he's a good clubhouse guy to have. He doesn't have. He'll hit the home runs. Doesn't hit for average. He certainly didn't hit for average last season. He batted just over 200. I mean, like 213. But he did knock out 27 home runs. So I think it should help. Plus, we haven't had a third baseman play a full season in a while, so he'll give you 100 plus 120 games.
No, and I think it's important because that is in spite of what you may think, that is a relatively young team. They've got that Rosario kid at shortstop who is by all accounts the second coming, right, of Derek Jeter. He's supposed to be great. He needs a good mentor around him, and so I think it's good to have that. And that pitching staff is still relatively young, right? It's dominated by Syndergaard and DeGrom, but you've also got Steven Matz. Those are all young guys. They've had some experience now with success, with the New York media, with injuries, with a little bit of the ups and downs. I think him being a calming influence in the clubhouse, I think is a good thing. And it's something that, that team needs going forward.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I agree with you. I think it's a good deal for the Mets, and it wasn't terribly expensive. Not to mention it wasn't my money, so what do I care?
True.
Right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Good point.
It's not my cash. So, we've come pretty much to the end of our podcast. We here at the Positive Sports Podcast like to finish with a couple of shout-outs. 1, 2, 3 shout-outs. I don't know how many, but I'd like to. We like to say something nice about some of the people that we watch and admire from afar every week. Alex, you want to go first on your shout-outs today?
Sure. I got one. So this week was National Signing Day, and this one kid impressed me so much. And I don't know if the story's true or not, but this kid had his Jacob Copeland was his name, and he's from Florida. And, he's at the table. He's got 3 hats on the table: Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida.
Yeah.
And he's got his family around him. And he's going to make the decision of his life, right? Yeah. And to his right is his mother wearing a Tennessee beanie and an Alabama sweatshirt.
So she has no opinion?
None. None. But she's got two favorites, I guess. I don't know.
Yes.
So this kid is 18, 19 years old. He goes
19. Yeah. How many times do you think he got left back, bro?
Well, I don't know.
Anyway, go on.
17. So Jacob Copeland is about to make the biggest decision of his life, and he picks a hat off the table, and he picks the Florida Gators hat. And the reason why I commend the young man is because I imagine that he had a ton of pressure making the decision to begin with, and for his mother to be wearing the two teams that he did not pick shows that he made this decision on his own. And I feel bad for him because the mother walked out, and I don't know if this was staged or what, but the mother walked out, and I could imagine what he felt like, but he kept his composure, and that tells me that he is built for the next level, beyond college also.
And not only did he keep his composure, he answered the question. The ESPN guy asked him, "Who was that just got up and left?" And he said, "That was my mother." And the ESPN guy pushed him, and he just said, "Look, I think Florida is the best place for me." And he went into a little bit of insight into his decision-making process. And he really, you're right, he kept his composure. And for an 18-year-old kid, or however old he is, that's insane pressure at that age.
Yep.
And I understand at 18, man, you've got all the vitriol, right? You think you're gonna live forever, and you got the world by the horns, right? But it's still, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people tugging at you. There's a lot of people saying stuff, yakking in your ear and whatnot. Hats off to that kid.
So Jacob Copeland, you get my shout out because here at the Positive Podcast, you did something great. You kept a positive attitude, and we love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My shout out is a little bit more simple. So I went out on a run this past week, and I was having a bit of a rough day. I just couldn't get in a good rhythm. I'm out there running, and I get to the halfway point where I'm going to turn around and go back. I'm running in a park, right? So there's not a lot of people out, and I'm just looking for excuses, right? And so I'm running, and all of a sudden I look down and I notice my shoe is untied. And I thank my lucky stars because I am just not having a good run. So I stop and I kneel down to tie my shoe. And this cyclist stops. Now, maybe he needed a break too. I don't know. But he stopped and unclipped out of his bike. And he looks over at me. He goes, "Are you all right, man? Are you all right?" Because I had my head down, tying my shoe, and I was taking my sweet time. And he's like, "Are you okay, man? Are you okay?" And I had earphones in, and so I couldn't hear him right away, but I kind of caught him out of the corner of my eye. I looked up, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." And he's like, "All right," and he clipped back in and rode off. So my shout out is to you, concerned cyclists, looking out for your fellow man, thinking that maybe I was, I don't know, about to hurl or something, or maybe I was injured, but you looked out for somebody. I appreciate it. You'll probably never listen to this podcast, or maybe you will. Maybe you'll be one of our millions of fans. I don't know. But just know that this runner appreciates this cyclist for stepping out and stopping and looking out for his fellow man. Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
That's awesome.
It is. I thought that was pretty cool. So with that, we've come to the end of our podcast. Our episode 2. If you have not caught episode 1, you need to go back and watch it. We had a good time on that one too. We talked a little more Super Bowl than we did today, but that's because it was right after the Super Bowl. So you go back and check that out. You can catch us on YouTube, Podbean, iTunes. Just look up the Positive Sports Podcast and you'll find us. Mm-hmm. If you want to get a hold of us, Alex, how do they get a hold of you, my friend?
You can catch me on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho.
And if you want to get a hold of the show, you can get a hold of the show by emailing it at positivesports10, that's the number 10 at the end of Positive Sports, at gmail.com. Positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of this host, Ed Montana, you can do so on Twitter. You can reach me at eMontana21. And remember, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.